It can be risky having celebrities guest star as themselves on a sitcom. If it's the right fit, that can lead to some of the best jokes in the series. But if it doesn't work, that's going to suck the viewer out of the show faster than any bad joke ever could.
Stand by, camera 6. If it's happening now, we're going to deal with it now. Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I've previously talked about what I consider to be the worst episode of Frasier, Detour. In that video, I claimed that The Devil and Dr. Phil may be the second worst episode of the show. Having recently rewatched it for this video, I think that may be a bit harsh. Much of the episode actually had me smiling, like Martin's nighttime work antics, the old couple that Niles and Daphne imagines as their future selves, and BB's enthrallment of Frasier. But it is the inclusion of Dr. Phil that has made a lot of Frasier fans unwilling to revisit this episode, and even made me completely forget all of the good parts in it, which probably seems strange to some of you. After all, you would think that a television psychologist would be the perfect celebrity guest star for a show like Frasier. And when this episode aired back in 2003, Phil McGraw was still a licensed psychologist, before allegedly letting his license expire voluntarily in 2006. Now, chances are that given the title of this video, YouTube's algorithm will decide to send a bunch of Dr. Phil fans to this video. His show certainly has a foothold here on YouTube. Just know that I hold no ill will towards anyone who likes that show. It is made to be compelling television, and there's a reason why it's popular. But I would like to point you toward a trio of videos made by Big Joel if you'd like to get a better picture of what it is people dislike about the show, and Dr. Phil specifically. Not only is there a history of abuse and unethical treatment allegations against him, both from patients and employees. In 2020, Dr. Phil appeared on Fox News, attempting to downplay the coronavirus pandemic.
45,000 people a year die from automobile accidents, 480,000 from cigarettes, 360,000 a year from swimming pools, but we don't shut the country down for that.
But if I let the views and actions of an actor influence my enjoyment of a show, I wouldn't even get past Kelsey Grammer's political opinions. But it's different when a celebrity plays themselves as opposed to a separate character. So I think it's completely reasonable for anyone to have a bigger issue with something like this. Since Dr. Phil is the big thing people have an issue with in this episode, let's just focus on the parts that actually involve him and leave the rest of the episode out of it. I recommend still giving it a rewatch for the sake of all of those good parts. The episode begins with an introduction to one of the episode's B-plots, and then leads into...
Hey, Frasier, it's your friend again.
Dr. Phil.
Phil McGraw.
I'll be talking about life strategies at the State Theater Friday through Sunday. Come join us. It might just change your life.
Now, there's a doctor.
Yeah, sure. At this point, he did still have his Texas psychology license, so he was a doctor. But it is worth mentioning that he's never been licensed in California, which is where he actually practiced psychology, on his TV show. I feel like this is something Frasier, or at least Niles, would have something to say about, but it never really comes up.
I never knew you were friends with Dr. Phil.
Some years back, we found ourselves running into each other at seminars and conferences. He's an excellent therapist. We had a bit of a clash over ethics.
What did you do? Sleep with a patient?
Not my ethics, his.
Oh, I didn't expect them to take his history so seriously.
The man bilked me out of $200 in a card game.
He did not bilk you. It's called a one-eyed jack.
Yes.
Ah. Hey, I wonder how Ross feels about Dr. Phil.
Daphne told me all about Dr. Phil. I can't believe you know him. Do you think you could get me in backstage?
Big fan. Got it. Seems like everyone on the show absolutely loves the guy. Even Frasier's one issue with him is not related to him as a psychologist or entertainer, which is a common ground between them where you would think there would be a lot of comedy to be mined. Strange. One thing I think is interesting is that Niles doesn't interact with Dr. Phil in any way, not even a comment. Considering his occasional objections to what Frasier does via his radio show, I can only imagine how he would feel about Dr. Phil, which is probably why he isn't even mentioned while Niles is around. You can't have one of the most likable characters on the show airing grievances about turning psychiatry into entertainment when your guest star actually does that in real life, and not always with the subject's well-being at heart. Another problem with having Dr. Phil on the show is that he clearly can't act.
Well, Frasier Crane, is that you? So how are you?
I'm fine. How's Robin?
She's great. Can you believe it? We're going on 27 years.
Congratulations.
Well, and how's Lilith?
Well, we've been divorced now for 10 years.
Congratulations.
He's not like the worst actor of all time or anything, but he delivers all his lines in an almost monotone.
Can you believe after all that time we spent in the seminars that we both turned out to be broadcasters? Boy, those were some good times, weren't they?
Although,
Are you still whining about that $200?
That may not be far from how he actually talks normally, but it certainly does not help in delivering the jokes.
I am so busy. Personal appearances and book signings and interviews. I've got this agent that's got me going 25/8. In fact, speak of the devil, here she comes.
Phil, darling, Frasier.
You guys know each other?
The only joke in this scene that landed for me was
Frasier, tell you what, let's do email.
okay.
probably because he at least did something in terms of acting. Like, I'm not looking for much here. I want to think comedy I'm looking at is funny, so I'll take almost any excuse I can get to laugh at it. But you have to at least give us some amount of effort. After this scene, Dr. Phil disappears from the episode for almost 13 minutes, only vaguely being mentioned as one of BB's clients.
I bet I can make you bigger than Dr. Phil.
At the end of the episode, Phil reappears to reveal for us that he was never actually her client, but instead a part of her ploy to be reinstated as Frasier's agent.
We're square, darling, and maybe next time you gamble with BB, you'll pay your debts with cash.
See, the problem is my wife looks at the bank statements, and if she knew I was losing money playing cards, she would kill me.
This episode has a lot of fun moments, but it does suffer from having a celebrity guest star. I think the episode could have been vastly improved by replacing Dr. Phil with a fictional TV psychologist. This agreement is an important source for comedy, one that Frasier taps frequently. Every character agreeing that Dr. Phil is a great guy does not lead to a lot of fun jokes, and Frasier bearing a tiny grudge towards him for some money he feels he is owed is not enough either, because he otherwise loves the guy. And crucially, Frasier is in the wrong here. Can't have the great Dr. Phil be presented as having even a tiny character flaw. But if you exchange Dr. Phil for, say, Dr. Krill, a fictional celebrity psychologist, suddenly you have a lot more options for comedy. Maybe all of Frasier's friends and family still loves him, but Frasier absolutely hates him. It could even still be about the gambling, but maybe now Dr. Krill actually did pull one over on Frasier, and is coyly mocking him for it in a way nobody else picks up on, but which infuriates Frasier. I don't know about you, but to me that seems way funnier. Because there's conflict. Conflict between Frasier and Frasier's family because of their different view on Dr. Krill, and of course conflict between Frasier and Dr. Krill himself. It wouldn't have to fill more of the episodes than the Dr. Phil scenes do, but now there would be more happening than just a bunch of guys fangirling over getting Dr. Phil on the show. This celebrity cameo reminds me of bad Simpsons guest stars. The Simpsons have had plenty of great celebrity guest stars over the years. Frasier himself, Kelsey Grammer, had a recurring role there as Sideshow Bob. And another good one is when Rodney Dangerfield appeared as Mr. Burns' long-lost son. But a lot of the cameos where the celebrity appears as themselves are very unfunny, as the writers understandably have trouble being as mean to real people as they would a fictional character, which often just results in the celebrity hanging around the main cast for a bit, not doing much. Just like Dr. Phil in this episode. But why did this episode even happen? At first I thought it was that Frasier and Dr. Phil's show must have been owned by the same network, that the executives had an interest in promoting Phil's show on Frasier. It's hard to be sure with all the parent companies and subsidiaries attached to these networks, but there doesn't seem to be a link there. But both shows did air on the same channel at the time, and was even filmed at the same studio lot. Thanks to YouTuber The Confusing Opinion for working that out, by the way. And check out his video for a more general recap of this whole episode. So since the two shows filmed so close by, chances are that people from the two production teams knew each other, and the guest appearance would be relatively easy to swing, as Phil could just walk from one set over to the other, drone his lines out, and then walk back again. Wow, I can't believe I got this much out of what is basically just the first 5 minutes of a Frasier episode. When I started writing this, I wasn't even sure I would have enough to say to make the video at all, but apparently I did. This is the last of the 3 Frasier videos I decided to make about a year ago when I started working on my The Worst Episode of Frasier video. I even edited together all the 3 intro segments there and then, and now I've finally used them all. But I do have more Frasier videos planned, as they seem to be the kind of content YouTube prefers for me to put out. But I also have a lot of other topics that I want to cover, so I would love it if you want to check out some of my other videos too. And if you want to be notified about some of my future videos, click the subscribe button. Oh, and let's do comments.